A 5-year-old boy lay curled on a Harley Davidson, barefoot, bleeding, shivering so hard his teeth rattled. When the garage door opened, he didn't run. He looked up at the 6'3" tattooed stranger and whispered through cracked lips, "Are you the motorcycle man from my dreams? Please, please don't send me back. He burns us when we cry." Derek Williams froze. Blonde hair, blue eyes, 5 years old, the exact age his sister Emma was when she died. 19 hours later, 63 Hells Angels surrounded a children's home. The FBI pulled 3 small bodies from shallow graves behind the shed, and Derek, a man who hadn't cried in 22 years, fell to his knees and wept. Subscribe now, stay until the end, comment your city below. Derek Williams hadn't slept well in 22 years. Every night the same dream. Emma's face, Emma's voice, Emma saying, "Derek, help me," while flames climbed the walls of a foster home 1,847 miles away. He'd been 23 then, stationed in Afghanistan, got the Red Cross message 3 hours after she died. His baby sister, 5 years old, gone before he could say goodbye. Now he was 45, brown hair going gray, 6'3", 230 pounds of muscle covered in tattoos that told stories most people couldn't read. Former Army Ranger, 3 tours overseas. Owner of Shadow Custom Bikes in downtown Denver. Vice president of the Denver chapter of the Hells Angels. And still haunted by a little girl he couldn't save. That Sunday morning, November 17th, Derek rolled out of bed at 5:30. Same routine he'd followed for 2 decades. Coffee first, then check the bikes in the garage, then figure out how to fill another day that felt emptier than it should. He walked to the detached garage barefoot, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt. The air bit at 38 degrees. Late November in Colorado meant winter had already arrived. He hit the light switch, and his heart stopped. A child. Blonde hair matted with dirt, blue eyes closed, tiny body curled into a ball on the seat of his Road King, a Mickey Mouse shirt hanging past his hands, gray sweatpants sliding down bony hips, no shoes, feet bleeding. For exactly 4 seconds, Derek couldn't breathe. Emma, but Emma was dead, had been dead for 22 years. The boy stirred. The overhead bulb had woken him. He opened his eyes, so blue, impossibly blue, and saw Derek. Terror flooded the small face. The child scrambled backward on the motorcycle seat, lost his balance, and cried out when his left ankle buckled beneath him. "I'm sorry," the words tumbled out in a panicked rush. "I didn't mean to. Please don't be mad. Please don't call them." Derek's military training kicked in. Assess. Don't react. Don't frighten. The kid was tiny, maybe 3 feet tall, couldn't weigh more than 35 pounds, dangerously light for what looked like a 5-year-old. His ribs were visible through the thin shirt. His arms were covered in bruises shaped like adult fingers. "Hey," Derek kept his voice low, calm. "Hey, it's okay." "I'll go." The boy pressed against the garage wall, shaking so violently his teeth chattered. "I'll leave. I'm sorry. Please don't call them." "Call who?" The child's face crumpled. Tears streamed down dirty cheeks. "Mr. Patterson, please. He'll put me in the basement again. Please." Something cracked in Derek's chest. He knelt down slowly, dropping from 6'3" to 3 feet, made himself small, non-threatening, held his hands out, palms open, showing he wasn't a threat. "I'm not calling anyone. I'm not mad. You're hurt. Let me help you." The boy stared at him with those impossible blue eyes. "You're not going to hit me?" The question hit Derek like shrapnel. "No, I'm never going to hit you. What's your name?" "Ethan," a whisper. "Ethan James." "Okay, Ethan. I'm Derek. Can you tell me why you're in my garage?" The boy looked at the Harley. Fresh tears fell. "I wanted to sleep on the motorcycle. I'm sorry, I'll leave now. Why a motorcycle? Ethan's voice dropped so low Derek almost couldn't hear it. Because the motorcycle man saves kids. In my dreams. He has a big motorcycle and he comes and he takes kids away from the bad places. I thought maybe if I slept on a motorcycle he'd find me. Derek's throat closed. You ran away from somewhere. A nod. From where? Pinewood, the children's home on Cedar Street. Why'd you run, Ethan? The boy's whole body trembled. Mr. Patterson hurts us. He doesn't feed us. He locks us in the basement when we cry. He hits us with his belt. He burned me with his cigarette when I told a teacher. He said if I told anyone again, he'd make me disappear. Derek looked at the child's arms, the bruises, the burn mark he could now see on the inside of the left forearm, the ribs showing through skin. A 5-year-old, starved, beaten, burned, terrorized. How long have you been at Pinewood? 8 months since my mommy died. And how long have you been trying to tell people? Ethan held up 5 fingers. 5 people? A nod. Who? My teacher. She said I was making it up. The doctor. He said kids fall down a lot. The police lady. She said Mr. Patterson was a good man. The church lady. She said I should pray more. The social worker. She said she'd look into it. And? Nobody came. Derek felt 22 years of guilt and rage and grief rising in his chest like a tidal wave. 5 adults. 5 people whose job was to protect children. 5 chances to save this boy. And every single one had failed him. Ethan, look at me. The boy raised his eyes. I'm not going to fail you. Do you understand? I'm not those people. I'm not going to walk away. I'm not going to pretend I didn't see you. Why? The word was so small, so broken, so full of disbelief that any adult could actually care. Derek's voice cracked. Because 22 years ago, someone should have helped my little sister. Nobody did. She died, and I promised myself I would never let that happen again. Ethan's eyes went wide. Your sister? Her name was Emma. She was 5 years old, same age as you. Blonde hair, blue eyes, just like you. What happened to her? Bad place, like where you came from. Fire. I was far away, couldn't get to her in time, couldn't save her. The boy stared at Derek for a long moment. You couldn't save her. No. And now you want to save me? Derek felt the tears coming. First time in 22 years. Yeah, kid, I want to save you. I need to save you. Will you let me? Ethan didn't answer. Instead, he asked a question that nearly broke Derek completely. What if you're lying? What if you're nice now and then you hurt me later? That's what Mr. Patterson did. He was nice at first. He smiled. He gave me candy. Then he hurt me. Derek reached behind him slowly. Ethan flinched, but Derek just pulled off his leather vest. Hell's Angels patches, warm from his body, and held it out. You're freezing. Put this on. I don't understand. This vest means something, Ethan. It means I'm part of a family. 63 brothers who protect people, who protect kids. We don't lie. We don't break promises. And we never, ever hurt children. 63? Yeah, 63 men who would drop everything right now to help you. All I have to do is make one phone call. Why would they help me? They don't know me. Because that's what we do. That's who we are. Ethan looked at the vest, looked at Derek, looked at the motorcycle. The motorcycle man, he whispered, you're real. I'm real, buddy, and I'm not going anywhere. Derek set the vest on the concrete floor between them, giving the child a choice. Then he did something he hadn't done in years. He sat down fully, going lower than Ethan. Total submission, showing he wasn't a threat. I'm going to make you a promise, Ethan, and I want you to listen carefully. Are you listening? The boy nodded. I promise you, on Emma's memory, that I will not let anyone hurt you again. I promise you that I will fight for you. I promise you that you will never go back to that place. and I promise you that I will find a way to make sure the man who hurt you pays for what he did. Do you believe me? I want to. That's a start. Derek extended his fist. This is how brothers make promises. You bump my fist, we're brothers, and brothers protect each other. Always. Ethan stared at the massive fist. Then slowly he raised his own tiny hand, made a fist, bumped it against Derek's. Brothers? Brothers. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Ethan did something that shattered every wall Derek had built around his heart for 22 years. He crawled off the motorcycle, limped across the cold, concrete floor on his injured ankle, and wrapped his arms around Derek's neck. "Thank you," the boy whispered. "Thank you for finding me." Derek held him, felt how light he was, how fragile, how damaged, and he made a silent vow. Whatever it takes, whatever it costs, this child will be safe. Derek carried Ethan into the house. The boy weighed nothing, 35 pounds at most, when he should have weighed at least 45. He wrapped him in a blanket, set him on the couch, and knelt down to examine his feet. "These are bad, buddy. You walked a long way." 3 miles. In the dark? "I waited until Mr. Patterson was asleep. He checks the locks at midnight, then he drinks until he passes out. I left at 2 in the morning." "How did you know where to go?" "I didn't. I just walked until I found a motorcycle. I tried 3 garages before yours. The first 2 were locked." "You've been out there for 4 hours? In this cold?" "I was scared if I stopped walking I'd die. My mommy died when she stopped moving. She was sick. She kept walking and walking until she couldn't anymore. Then she laid down and she didn't get up." Derek's jaw clenched. "I'm sorry about your mom, Ethan. She said someone would take care of me. She said good people existed. I didn't believe her anymore. Until now." Derek cleaned the wounds on Ethan's feet. Glass cuts, scrapes from pavement. The left ankle was swollen badly, sprained probably. He bandaged everything carefully while Ethan watched in silence. "Does it hurt?" "I've had worse." A 5-year-old saying he's had worse. Derek wanted to put his fist through a wall. Instead, he made hot oatmeal with brown sugar, put it in front of Ethan, watched the boy stare at it like it might disappear. "Go ahead, it's yours." Ethan picked up the spoon, took one small bite, then another. Then he started crying. "What's wrong? Is it too hot?" "No." The boy kept eating through his tears. "It's warm, and there's sugar. Mr. Patterson never let us have sugar. He said we didn't deserve good things." "How often did he feed you?" "Once a day, sometimes less. He said food cost money and we weren't worth it." "How many kids are at Pinewood?" 9, including me. 9 children, 1 meal a day, for 8 months. Ethan nodded. "What does Patterson do with the money?" "The state sends money for food and supplies. Where does it go?" "His car, his clothes, his trips. He has a nice car, a really nice car. He said we were his golden ticket." Derek pulled out his phone, started recording. "Ethan, I need you to tell me everything. Can you do that?" "Will it help the other kids?" "Yes." "Then I'll tell you everything." And he did. The basement, cold, dark, damp, spiders everywhere. Patterson locked children down there for hours, sometimes days. If they cried too loud or complained about being hungry or asked to go outside. A man who'd been doing this for years and knew how to avoid detection. The cigarette burns. Punishment for telling. Ethan had tried to tell his teacher 3 months in. Patterson found out. The burn on Ethan's arm was a reminder. The starvation. 9 children sharing one small meal a day. Sometimes just bread, sometimes just rice. Never enough. Always hungry. The isolation. No toys, no books, no television, no contact with the outside world. Patterson homeschooled them, barely, and kept them hidden from neighbors, from social workers, from anyone who might ask questions. The threats. Patterson told the children that if they ever tried to run, he would find them. If they ever told anyone, no one would believe them. If they ever got him in trouble, he would make them disappear. He said he knew people, important people, people who would help him cover up anything. Do you believe him? Derek asked. About the important people? Ethan nodded. The police lady who came, she had lunch with Mr. Patterson afterward. I saw them through the window. They were laughing. Derek's blood ran cold. This wasn't just abuse. This was a system designed to protect a predator. Ethan, I'm going to make some phone calls now. I need you to stay here, stay warm, and eat as much as you can. Can you do that? You're not leaving? I'm going to the next room. You can see me through the doorway. I promise I won't leave this house. Okay. Derek walked to the kitchen. He could still see Ethan on the couch, clutching the leather vest, eating oatmeal like he might never eat again. He made his first call. Razor, it's Shadow. It's 6 in the morning, brother. This better be Code Emma. Silence on the line. Code Emma. The code Derek had created after his sister died. The code that meant a child was in danger and everything else stopped. In 22 years, Derek had never used it. What do you need? Razor's voice had changed completely. No more sleepiness. Pure focus. Everyone. I mean everyone. Clubhouse. 1 hour. What's happening? I found a kid sleeping on my Road King this morning. 5 years old. Ran away from a children's home called Pinewood. He's been starved, beaten, burned, and locked in a basement. There are 8 other kids still in that facility. The director is stealing state funds and has at least 1 cop in his pocket. Jesus Christ. 1 hour, Razor. Every single brother. They'll be there. Derek hung up, made his second call. Michael, it's Derek Williams. Michael Chen, not a club member, but their lawyer. Handled all their legal matters. Kept them on the right side of the law when lines got blurry. Derek, it's Sunday morning. I know. I need you at the clubhouse in 1 hour. I found a child. He's been abused for 8 months at a facility called Pinewood Children's Center. I have his testimony on recording. I need to know how to proceed legally so this director goes to prison and never sees daylight again. Pinewood? On Cedar Street? You know it? I know of it. The director is Harold Patterson. He's donated to half the city council. Has photos with the mayor. Very well connected. I don't care if he has photos with the president. He starved children and burned them with cigarettes. He's going down. Derek, we have to be careful here. If Patterson has police connections, he could... Michael, 1 hour, clubhouse, figure it out. He hung up, made his third call. Tank, get your wife. I need a nurse. Now. Marcus Tank Rodriguez was 6'5", 280 pounds, former Marine, and married to a pediatric nurse named Sophia. What's wrong? I have a 5-year-old with severe malnutrition, a sprained ankle, cuts on his feet, bruises on his body, and a cigarette burn on his arm. He needs medical documentation, official, something that can be used as evidence. We're on our way. Thank you, brother. Derek walked back to the living room. Ethan had finished the oatmeal and was sitting perfectly still, holding the empty bowl like he was afraid someone would take it away. Did you eat enough? Can I have more? Derek's heart broke a little more. You can have as much as you want, buddy. Let me make you some more. He made 3 more bowls. Ethan ate all of them. My tummy hurts, the boy said afterward. But a good hurt, a full hurt. I forgot what that felt like. You're going to feel it every day from now on, I promise. Derek? Yeah? Are the other kids going to be okay? Lily and Marcus and Tyler and Maya and... I'm going to get them out, Ethan. All of them. Today. Mr. Patterson will be angry. Mr. Patterson is never going to hurt anyone again. How do you know? Derek knelt down so he was eye level with the boy. Because in about 1 hour, 63 of the scariest looking men you've ever seen are going to make sure of it. And I'm the scariest one of all. Ethan looked at Derek's tattoos, his size, his fierce eyes. You don't scare me. That's because I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to protect you. There's a difference. Mr. Patterson said he was protecting us too. He said the world was dangerous and we were safer with him. Ethan, listen to me. The people who really protect you don't hurt you. They don't starve you. They don't lock you in basements. They feed you when you're hungry. They hold you when you're scared. They fight for you when you can't fight for yourself. That's what protection looks like. Everything else is a lie. The boy was quiet for a long moment. I believe you. Good. A knock at the door. Derek tensed, checked the peephole. Tank and Sophia. He opened the door. Tank filled the entire frame. A mountain of a man with a shaved head, arms covered in tattoos, and a face that made most people cross the street to avoid him. But his eyes were gentle. Where is he? Living room. Sophia pushed past both men, medical bag in hand. She was small, 5'2", maybe 110 pounds, but she moved with the authority of someone who'd spent 15 years caring for children. She stopped when she saw Ethan. The boy shrank back, clutching Derek's vest. It's okay, Derek said softly. This is Sophia. She's a nurse. She's going to look at your injuries. Is that okay? Ethan looked at Sophia, looked at Tank standing in the doorway, looked at Derek. Are they brothers too? Tank is. Sophia is married to him. She's family. Okay. Sophia approached slowly, keeping her voice soft and her movements predictable. She knelt down, making herself small. Hi, Ethan. I'm not going to do anything without asking first, okay? Can I look at your feet? A nod. She unwrapped Derek's bandages gently, examined the cuts, the swelling on the left ankle. Derek did a good job cleaning these. Can you wiggle your toes for me? Ethan wiggled. Good. That ankle is sprained, but it's not broken. You were very brave walking on it for 3 miles. I had to. I know, sweetheart. Can I look at your arm now? The one with the burn? Ethan hesitated, then held out his left arm. Sophia's face went pale when she saw it. A circular burn about the size of a cigarette tip on the inside of his forearm. Partially healed, but still red, still angry. Who did this to you? Mr. Patterson. I told my teacher he wasn't feeding us. She called him to ask about it. He said I was lying. Then he burned me so I'd remember not to lie again. Sophia looked at Derek. Her eyes were wet. Can I check your back, Ethan? The boy lifted his shirt. Derek had seen war. He'd seen atrocities. He'd seen things that gave him nightmares for years. But the sight of a 5-year-old's back covered in belt marks made him want to scream. These are healing, Sophia said, her voice cracking. But there are older ones too. Scars. This has been happening for months. 8 months, Ethan said quietly, since I got to Pinewood. Tank stepped forward. His massive hands were shaking. Brother, he said to Derek, give me 5 minutes alone with this Patterson. No. I'm serious. 5 minutes, that's all I need. We do this right, Tank. We do this by the book. We get evidence. We get lawyers. We get cops, the ones who aren't dirty. We make sure this monster goes to prison for the rest of his life. No shortcuts. Prison's too good for him. Maybe, but if we do this wrong, he walks. If we do this wrong, he gets the kids back. If we do this wrong, he hurts more children. So we do this right. Understood? Tank nodded, but his eyes said he was already planning what he'd do if the legal system failed. Sophia finished her examination, documented everything with photos, wrote detailed notes, times, dates, descriptions of injuries, everything they'd need for court. He's severely malnourished, she told Derek quietly. His weight is in the first percentile for his age. He should be closer to 45 pounds. He's 35. That's not just skipping meals. That's systematic starvation. His body has started eating its own muscle mass. Can he recover? With proper nutrition and care? Yes, but it will take months, maybe years. And the psychological damage. We'll handle it, whatever he needs. Derek, this child needs more than food and medicine. He needs stability, safety, someone who's going to be there every day, every night, for as long as it takes. I know. Do you? Because this isn't a one-time rescue. This is a commitment. This is parenthood. Derek looked at Ethan, who was watching them talk. The boy's eyes met his. Derek, am I going to be okay? He walked over, knelt down, took Ethan's small hand in his. Yeah, buddy, you're going to be okay. I'm going to make sure of it. Promise? I already did, remember? Brothers. A tiny fist bump. Brothers. At 9:15 a.m., Derek left for the clubhouse. Tank and Sophia stayed with Ethan. As Derek walked out the door, the boy called after him. Derek? He turned. Don't let Mr. Patterson hurt the other kids anymore. Lily is only 4. She's scared of the dark, and he keeps putting her in the basement. I won't let him hurt anyone ever again, Ethan. That's a promise. The boy nodded, and Derek rode to war. The Denver Hells Angels clubhouse was a converted warehouse on the east side of the city. From the outside, it looked like every stereotype people expected. Motorcycles lined up, heavy metal music, intimidating men in leather. But inside it was something different. A family. 63 men from every walk of life. Construction workers and accountants, veterans and teachers, mechanics and nurses. Men who'd found something in the brotherhood that the world hadn't given them. Purpose, belonging, loyalty. When Derek pulled up at 10:27 a.m., all 63 were already there. They stood in the main room, quiet, waiting. The energy was different than usual. Tense, focused. They'd heard the words, Code Emma, and dropped everything. Derek walked to the front of the room. At 5:47 this morning, I found a 5-year-old boy sleeping on my Road King. His name is Ethan. He ran away from Pinewood Children's Center, the group home on Cedar Street. He walked 3 miles barefoot in 38-degree weather to get away from a man named Harold Patterson. He pulled out his phone, played 10 minutes of Ethan's testimony. The room listened in absolute silence. When the recording reached the part about the cigarette burn, several men walked out. Derek could hear them hitting walls in the hallway, cursing, crying. He didn't stop them. When the recording ended, Derek looked at his brothers. There are 8 more children in that facility right now. 8 kids who are being starved, beaten, and locked in basements while the state sends money that Patterson pockets for himself. The system has failed these kids. Teachers, doctors, police, social workers, all of them look the other way. But we're not going to look the other way. Not today, not ever. Frank Ghost Morrison stood up, 62 years old, retired detective, 25 years on the Denver Police Department before he got tired of watching corruption win. What do you need from us, Shadow? Everything. I need surveillance on that facility. I need documentation of everyone who comes and goes. I need financial records if we can get them. I need contacts at DPD who aren't dirty. I know there are some. I need a family court judge who gives a damn about kids. And I need to know every person in this city who's protected Patterson so we can expose them all. I've got contacts, Ghost said. Detective Sarah Chen, good cop, honest. She's suspected Patterson for years but could never get enough evidence to move on him. Call her. Tell her we've got evidence now. Tell her we've got a victim who's willing to testify. Michael Chen, the lawyer, stood up. Derek, we need to be strategic here. If Patterson has police connections, any premature move could tip him off. He could destroy evidence, intimidate witnesses, even move the children. Then we move fast. How fast? Derek's eyes went cold. Those kids don't spend another night in that house. Not one more night. Whatever we need to do to make that happen, we do it. Today. That's less than 12 hours. Then we better get started. The room mobilized. Ghost headed to his car to call Detective Chen. 3 brothers, Preacher, Viper, and Duke, volunteered to position themselves near Pinewood and document everything they saw. Michael Chen started making calls to family court contacts. Sophia began coordinating with other medical professionals who could provide additional documentation if needed. And Derek stood in the middle of it all, watching his brothers move with the precision and purpose of a military operation. Because that's what they were, an army. For one small boy who dreamed of a motorcycle man, and for 8 more children who didn't even know help was coming. At 11:45 a.m., Ghost called with news. Chen's in. She's been building a file on Patterson for 2 years. Never had enough to move on him. Said when she heard we had a victim with documented injuries and recorded testimony, she almost cried. What does she need? She's applying for an emergency warrant now, but Derek, there's something you need to know. Patterson's got more connections than we thought. His biggest donor is City Councilman Richard Webb. They've been friends for 20 years. Webb's been blocking every investigation into Pinewood since it opened. A city councilman protecting a child abuser? Either that or he doesn't know what's really happening. Either way, if we go after Patterson, Webb's going to try to shut us down. Let him try. At 2:30 p.m., the brothers watching Pinewood called in. Movement. A delivery truck just pulled up. Patterson came outside. He's loading boxes into the back. What kind of boxes? File boxes, papers. Looks like he's cleaning house. Derek's blood ran cold. Someone had tipped him off. Do not let that truck leave. I don't care what you have to do. Block the road, puncture the tires, whatever. Those documents don't leave that property. Copy that. At 3:17 p.m., the truck tried to leave. Found the road blocked by 3 motorcycles and 3 large men who refused to move. Patterson came outside screaming, "Get out of my way! I'll have you arrested! I know people!" Duke, 6'4", former linebacker, arms like tree trunks, smiled pleasantly. "Call them. We'll wait." Patterson called the police. 2 squad cars arrived 20 minutes later. The officers told the bikers to move. Duke smiled again. "We're not blocking traffic, officer, just having some motorcycle trouble. All 3 of us, at the same time. Strange coincidence, isn't it?" The officers looked at each other. "You can't stay here forever." "We can stay here exactly as long as it takes." At 4:45 p.m., Detective Sarah Chen arrived with an emergency warrant. The officers' expressions changed immediately. "What's going on, Detective?" "Step aside, gentlemen. We're searching this facility." Patterson's face went white. "You can't do this. I have rights. I'll call my lawyer. I'll call Councilman Webb." Chen didn't flinch. "Call whoever you want. This warrant was signed by Judge Patricia Holloway 30 minutes ago. We're going in." The brothers parted to let the police through. Duke leaned close to Patterson as he passed. "Hey, Harold, good luck in prison. I hear they really love guys who hurt kids in there." Patterson's hands were shaking, and the boxes, the evidence he'd been trying to destroy, were loaded into police custody instead. At 5:30 p.m., Derek got a call from an unknown number. He answered. "Mr. Williams?" A woman's voice, nervous, scared. "Who is this?" "My name is Linda Torres. I was the cook at Pinewood for 3 years. I quit 6 months ago because I couldn't watch anymore." "Watch what?" "What he did to those kids. I tried to report him, twice. First time my supervisor said I was mistaken. Second time, I got a visit from a man in a suit who said if I talked again, I'd lose my job and my green card." "Who was the man in the suit?" "I don't know his name, but I know he works for the city." Derek's grip tightened on the phone. "Linda, do you have evidence? Anything that could help us?" "I have everything. Financial records I copied before I left. Photos I took when no one was looking. A recording of Patterson screaming at a child, threatening to make her disappear if she told anyone." "Why didn't you take this to the police?" "I tried. They said it wasn't enough. They said I probably misunderstood. They said Patterson was a respected member of the community, and I was just a cook who barely spoke English." Derek closed his eyes. "Linda, I need you to meet me. Tonight. Can you do that?" I'm scared. If they find out I talked, we'll protect you. I promise. What you have could save 9 children's lives. A long pause. Okay, I'll meet you. But Mr. Williams, there's something else you should know. The kids at Pinewood now, they're not the only ones. There have been 47 children through that facility in 12 years. I've seen the records. Some of them never made it to their next placement. What do you mean? They disappeared. Patterson would say they were transferred, but there was never any paperwork, just gone. Derek felt ice in his veins. How many? 3, maybe 4. I tried to find out what happened to them, but meet me at Shadow Custom Bikes on Main Street, 7 p.m. Bring everything you have. I'll be there. He hung up and made another call. Tank, we've got a problem, a much bigger problem than we thought. At 7:15 p.m., Linda Torres arrived at Derek's shop. She was small, mid-40s, dark hair, hands that wouldn't stop shaking. She'd brought a cardboard box filled with documents, financial records showing Patterson had embezzled over $340,000 in state funds, photos of the children, thin, bruised, hollow-eyed, a recording of Patterson threatening a 7-year-old girl named Maya, and a list of names. 47 children who had passed through Pinewood in 12 years. 3 of them had no records after leaving, no foster placements, no adoptions, no further documentation of any kind, just gone. Derek stared at the list. You think he killed them? Linda's voice was barely a whisper. I don't know, but I've had nightmares for 3 years about what might have happened to those children. Why are you coming forward now? Because I saw the news. A 5-year-old boy ran away from Pinewood last night. They're saying someone found him. They're saying charges might be filed. She looked at Derek with desperate eyes. I couldn't save those kids when I worked there. I was too scared. But maybe I can help save the ones who are still alive. Maybe I can make it right. Derek put his hand on her shoulder. You're brave, Linda. What you're doing takes courage. It doesn't feel brave. It feels like something I should have done years ago. The important thing is, you're doing it now. That's what matters. At 7:47 p.m., Detective Chen arrived. She looked at the box of evidence. Oh my God. There's more, Derek said. The financial records, the recordings, the photos, that's all damning. But there are 3 children who disappeared from Pinewood with no records, no trace. Patterson told people they were transferred, but there's no documentation. Chen's face went pale. Are you saying? I'm saying we need to search that property very, very carefully. Chen pulled out her phone. I'm calling the FBI. At 9:30 p.m., the FBI arrived at Pinewood Children's Center. Agents, dogs, forensic specialists. The children, 8 of them, ranging from 4 to 12 years old, had already been removed. Emergency foster placements arranged by Detective Chen. Patterson was in a holding cell downtown, screaming about his rights and demanding to speak with Councilman Webb. Webb wasn't returning his calls. The FBI searched the property for 12 hours. At 9:47 the next morning, they found what they were looking for. 3 small graves behind the equipment shed. 3 children who would never grow up. 3 families who would finally learn what happened to their sons and daughters. When the news broke, the city erupted. Patterson's face was on every channel, his connections exposed, his crimes laid bare. Councilman Webb resigned within 48 hours. 4 police officers were suspended pending investigation. 2 social workers were fired. And Derek Williams, the tattooed biker who'd found a boy on his Harley, was suddenly a hero. He didn't feel like one. He felt like a man who'd made a promise and kept it. Nothing more, nothing less. At 6:23 p.m. on Monday, November 18th, exactly 36 hours after he'd found Ethan in his garage, Derek walked back into his house. Tank and Sophia were still there. Ethan was asleep on the couch, Derek's leather vest clutched to his chest like a lifeline. He's been asking for you every hour, Sophia said quietly. Wouldn't sleep until I promised you'd be back. How is he? Better. We got some more food in him. His ankle's improving. But Derek, he needs more than medical care. He needs stability. He needs someone to be there. Every day. Derek looked at the sleeping boy, blonde hair matted against the pillow, tiny hands gripping the vest, the ghost of his sister's face in every feature. I know, he said. Do you? Sophia, I'm not going anywhere. That kid showed up in my garage because he dreamed someone would save him. I'm not letting him down. What are you saying? Derek walked to the couch, knelt down beside Ethan. The boy stirred, opened his eyes, saw Derek. You came back. I promised I would. Did you save the other kids? Yeah, buddy. They're all safe now. Patterson's in jail. He's never going to hurt anyone again. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Really? Really. The boy threw his arms around Derek's neck. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Derek held him tight. Ethan, I need to ask you something. What? You need a home now. A real home. Somewhere safe. Somewhere you'll never be hungry or scared again. Somewhere with someone who will take care of you and protect you and be there for you every single day. Where? Derek took a deep breath. Here. With me. If you want. Ethan pulled back, looked at Derek with those impossible blue eyes. You want me to live here? With you? Yeah, kid, I do. But you don't even know me. I know enough. I know you're brave. I know you walked 3 miles in the dark to find help. I know you dream about motorcycle men who save kids. I know you held on to hope when every adult in your life failed you. That's enough for me. For how long? What do you mean? How long would I live here? Until they find someone else? Until you get tired of me? Derek's heart shattered. No, Ethan, not until anything. Forever. I want to adopt you. I want to be your dad, if you'll have me. The boy's face went through a dozen emotions in 10 seconds. Confusion, hope, fear, doubt, and finally something that looked like joy. You want to be my dad? More than anything I've ever wanted in my life. But I'm broken. I have nightmares. I'm scared of the dark. I don't know how to be normal. Derek pulled him close. You're not broken, Ethan. You're the bravest kid I've ever met. And I'm not looking for normal. I'm looking for a son. Someone to teach how to ride a motorcycle someday. Someone to make breakfast for. Someone to tuck in at night. Someone to protect for the rest of my life. Why me? Derek felt the tears finally fall. Because 22 years ago, I lost my sister. I couldn't save her, but I can save you. You showed up in my garage looking just like her, the same age she was when she died, dreaming about a motorcycle man who would rescue you. Maybe that's a coincidence, or maybe it's something more. Either way, I'm not letting you go. Ethan was crying now too. I don't have any family left. My mommy died. My daddy left before I was born. I don't have anyone. You have me now. And 63 uncles who would move mountains for you. That's family, Ethan. Real family. The kind that chooses each other. Brothers? Derek extended his fist. Brothers. Forever. Ethan bumped it. Forever. That night, for the first time in 8 months, Ethan fell asleep in a warm bed, in a safe house, with a man who had promised to protect him sitting right outside the door. And Derek Williams sat in the hallway, watching over his son, knowing that everything in his life had just changed. For the first time in 22 years, the grief didn't feel quite so heavy. For the first time since Emma died, he had something to live for, someone to protect, someone who needed him. And he would never let him down. Not ever. Not for as long as he lived. The first nightmare came at 2:47 a.m. Derek heard the screaming from the hallway and was through Ethan's door in 3 seconds flat. The boy was tangled in his sheets, thrashing, crying out for someone to let him out of the dark. Ethan! Ethan! Wake up! The child's eyes flew open, wild, terrified, not seeing Derek at all. Please don't lock me in there again. Please, I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. Derek grabbed his shoulders gently. You're not there anymore. You're safe. You're in my house. Look at me. Ethan blinked, once, twice. Recognition slowly returned to his eyes. Derek? Yeah, buddy, it's me. You had a bad dream. I was in the basement. It was so dark. I couldn't breathe. And Mr. Patterson was laughing. He said no one was coming. He said no one cared. Derek pulled the boy into his arms, felt the small body shaking against his chest. He was wrong, Ethan. I came. I care. And you're never going back to that place. Ever. Promise? I already did, remember? Brothers don't break promises. They sat like that for 20 minutes, Derek holding Ethan, Ethan slowly calming down. The shaking stopped. The breathing steadied. Will the nightmares ever go away? Derek thought about his own nightmares. 22 years of them. Still coming. They get better, he said. They don't completely go away, but they get better. And every time you have one, I'll be right here, okay? Okay. Can you try to sleep again? Ethan shook his head. Can you stay? Just until I fall asleep? I'll stay all night if you need me to. You don't have to do that. I know I don't have to. I want to. Ethan looked up at him with those blue eyes that still held so much fear, so much hope, so much uncertainty. My mom used to stay with me when I had bad dreams, before she got sick. Tell me about her. She was pretty. She had brown hair and she smelled like flowers. She used to sing to me. She said I was her little miracle because the doctors said she couldn't have babies, but then she had me. She sounds wonderful. She was. She told me before she died that good people existed, that someone would take care of me. I didn't believe her. Until you. Derek's throat tightened. I'm going to do everything I can to be worthy of that, Ethan. I promise. The boy fell asleep an hour later, still holding Derek's hand. Derek didn't let go until morning. The next 3 days were chaos. The FBI investigation expanded rapidly. The 3 graves behind Pinewood yielded the remains of children who had been reported as transferred years ago. Patterson's carefully constructed lies were unraveling faster than anyone had anticipated. Detective Chen called Derek on Tuesday afternoon. We've got a problem. What kind of problem? Patterson made bail. Derek's blood went cold. How? He's facing murder charges. His lawyer argued he wasn't a flight risk. Judge Morrison, not the one who signed our warrant, a different one, set bail at $2 million. Someone paid it within an hour. Who? We don't know yet. The money came through a shell company. We're tracing it, but it'll take time. He's out? Right now? As of 45 minutes ago. Derek was already grabbing his keys. Where is he? Derek, don't do anything stupid. Where is he? We don't know. He's required to wear an ankle monitor and stay within city limits, but Derek hung up, called Razor. Patterson's out on bail. I need eyes on him. Now. Every brother who's not working, I want them looking. On it. And Razor, if anyone finds him near my house, near Pinewood, near any of those kids, I know, brother, we'll find him. Derek drove home at twice the speed limit. Ethan was in the living room with Sophia, working on a puzzle. He looked up when Derek burst through the door. What's wrong? Derek forced himself to calm down. The last thing this kid needed was more fear. Nothing's wrong, buddy. I just missed you. Ethan wasn't fooled. You're scared, I can tell. Your hands are shaking. Derek looked down. The boy was right. Something happened at work. It's nothing for you to worry about. Is it Mr. Patterson? The question hit Derek like a punch. Why would you ask that? Because I've been scared of him my whole life. I know what scared looks like. And you look like me when I think about him. Derek knelt down. Ethan, I need you to listen to me carefully. Mr. Patterson is not going to hurt you. Not ever again. Do you understand? But he's out, isn't he? That's why you're scared. How did you? The news was on. Sophia tried to change it, but I saw. They said he made bail. Derek shot Sophia a look. She shook her head helplessly. It was only on for a few seconds. I'm so sorry. It's okay. Derek turned back to Ethan. Yes, he's out, but that doesn't change anything. He's being watched. He can't leave the city. And if he comes anywhere near you, he'll regret it for the rest of his very short life. You'd hurt him? I'd do whatever it takes to protect you. Ethan was quiet for a moment. He told us once that if we ever got him in trouble, he'd find us, no matter where we went. He said he had friends everywhere. He said we could never escape. He was lying, Ethan. He's a coward. Cowards make threats they can't keep. But what if he wasn't lying? What if he really does have friends everywhere? Derek took the boy's face in his hands. Then those friends are going to meet my friends, and my friends are a lot scarier than his. Tank showed up an hour later, then Preacher, then Duke, then Viper. Within 2 hours, there were 12 Hell's Angels at Derek's house. Ethan watched them from the couch, eyes wide. Are they all here for me? Yeah, buddy, they're all here for you. But they don't even know me. Duke walked over, knelt down until he was eye level with the 5-year-old. Hey, little man, I'm Duke. I heard you walked 3 miles barefoot in the cold to find help. That's the bravest thing I've ever heard. Anyone who's that brave is family, and family protects family. Got it? Ethan nodded slowly. Got it. Good. Now I'm going to be right outside that door all night. Nothing's getting past me. Not Patterson, not anyone. You can sleep safe. You're going to stay outside all night? All night, every night, until this is over. Ethan looked at Derek. He's really going to do that? Yeah, buddy, he really is. The boy's eyes filled with tears. I've never had anyone protect me before, not since my mom died. Duke's voice went rough. Well, you've got 63 people protecting you now. That's never going to change. At 11:30 that night, Derek's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Mr. Williams. The voice was calm, measured, familiar somehow. Who is this? A friend, someone who's been watching you with great interest. You've caused quite a bit of trouble over the past few days. Patterson? A laugh. Cold. Harold? No. Harold is a tool. A useful one, but still just a tool. I'm someone rather more significant. Then who are you? Someone who's invested a great deal of money in certain enterprises. Enterprises that your crusade is threatening to expose. I'm calling to offer you a deal. I'm not making deals with child murderers. Hear me out, Mr. Williams. You're a businessman, a veteran, a pragmatist. You understand how the world works. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Some enemies are too powerful to defeat. Get to the point. Drop your pursuit of Harold Patterson. Convince the boy to recant his testimony. Walk away. In exchange, I'll make sure you're handsomely compensated. Enough to disappear. Start fresh somewhere else. You and the boy could have a very comfortable life. Derek's hand tightened on the phone. You're offering me money to let a child killer go free? I'm offering you survival. The alternative is considerably less pleasant. Is that a threat? It's a fact. You've made powerful enemies, Mr. Williams. People who don't lose. People who've been running operations like Pinewood for decades without interference. You're one man with a motorcycle club. We have resources you can't imagine. Let me tell you something about me. I served 3 tours in Afghanistan. I watched friends die. I killed enemies who thought they were untouchable. I've faced men who made your type look like children playing dress-up. And I'm still here. Brave words. And here's some more. I'm not dropping anything. I'm not walking away. And if you or anyone you know comes near that boy, I will personally ensure you spend the rest of your life regretting it. Silence on the line. You're making a mistake, Mr. Williams. No, you made the mistake. You let a 5-year-old walk out of your operation and into my garage. That's on you. And now you're going to pay for it. The line went dead. Derek immediately called Ghost. We need to trace a call. Someone just threatened me and Ethan. Someone above Patterson. I'll get my contacts on it. But Derek, this is getting bigger than we thought. I know. That's why we need to move faster. The next morning, Linda Torres was found dead in her apartment. The official report said suicide, pills, no signs of forced entry. But Derek knew better. Linda Torres had been terrified. She'd been a whistleblower who'd held on to evidence for years because she was too scared to come forward. She'd finally found the courage to speak, and now she was dead. This wasn't suicide, Derek told Detective Chen. I know, but I can't prove it. There's no evidence of foul play. Her door was locked from the inside. No defensive wounds. No signs of struggle. They killed her to send a message. If they did, they're very good at covering their tracks. What about the evidence she gave us? Is that enough? It's enough to nail Patterson. But whoever's behind him, whoever paid his bail, whoever made that call to you, we've got nothing on them. Derek felt rage building in his chest. So they just get away with it. They kill a woman and walk free? For now, but Derek, listen to me. This investigation is bigger than one case now. The FBI is looking into a network. Patterson wasn't alone. There are other facilities, other states. This goes deep. How deep? Deep enough that people are getting nervous. Deep enough that someone thought killing Linda Torres was worth the risk. Be careful. Watch your back. Watch Ethan. That afternoon, Derek filed the paperwork to become Ethan's emergency foster parent. It was the first step toward adoption, the fastest legal way to ensure Ethan stayed with him while the longer process played out. The social worker who came to evaluate his home was a woman named Patricia Wyatt, late 50s, gray hair, eyes that had seen too much. She walked through Derek's house, checking boxes on a form. She looked at Ethan's room, the kitchen, the bathroom, everything. Mr. Williams, I have to ask some difficult questions. Ask. You have a criminal record. Assault charge when I was 24. Bar fight. I've been clean for over 20 years. You're a member of a motorcycle club with a controversial reputation. The Hells Angels are a family. We do charity work. We protect our community. We don't deal drugs. We don't hurt innocents. And we just helped rescue 9 children from a monster. You're single. Is that a crime? No, but raising a child alone is challenging, especially a child with Ethan's level of trauma. I'm not alone. I have 63 brothers who would do anything for that kid. I have resources. I have a stable income. And I have something that matters more than any of that. What's that? I love him. I know that sounds crazy. I've known him for 4 days. But that boy showed up in my garage looking like my dead sister, and something in me clicked into place. I'm supposed to be his father. I feel it in my bones. Patricia Wyatt put down her clipboard. Mr. Williams, I've been doing this job for 32 years. I've placed thousands of children. I've seen every kind of family you can imagine. And I've learned that the best parents aren't always the ones who look best on paper. What does that mean? It means I'm going to recommend emergency foster placement. You'll have temporary custody while the formal adoption process proceeds. Derek exhaled. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. The process is long. There will be home visits, background checks, court appearances, and given your background, there will be people who object, loudly. I can handle objections. Can you handle a 5-year-old who wakes up screaming every night? Who flinches when you move too fast? Who might never fully trust anyone for the rest of his life? Yes. You sound very certain. I've never been more certain of anything. Patricia studied him for a long moment. Ethan told me something when I interviewed him. What? He said you were the motorcycle man from his dreams. He said he dreamed about you for months before he ever saw your face. He said he knew you'd come. He just had to find you. Derek's eyes stung. What else did he say? He said he wants to stay with you forever. He said you're the first person since his mother who made him feel safe. And he said he loves you. Derek couldn't speak. Mr. Williams, in 32 years, I've never seen a bond form this fast. Either this is something special, or it's going to end in disaster. I'm betting on special. I won't let you down. I won't let him down. See that you don't. She signed the papers. That night, Derek told Ethan the news. It's official, buddy. You're staying with me. The court approved it. Ethan's face went through a dozen emotions. For real? For real. They're not going to change their minds? No one's changing anything. This is your home now. The boy threw himself into Derek's arms. I prayed for this. Every night at Pinewood, I prayed someone would want me. I thought God wasn't listening. Maybe he was. Maybe he just took his time. Do you believe in God? Derek thought about it. I believe something put you in my garage that morning. Call it God, call it fate, call it Emma watching over both of us. Whatever it is, I'm grateful. Who's Emma? My sister, the one who died. Do you think she sent me to you? I think maybe she did, buddy. I think maybe she did. The next week brought more challenges. Patterson's lawyer filed a motion to dismiss all charges, claiming the evidence was obtained illegally. The motion was denied. Then came a motion to exclude Ethan's testimony, arguing that a 5-year-old couldn't be a reliable witness. That motion was also denied. Then came the media. Someone leaked Derek's name to the press. Suddenly cameras were everywhere. Reporters camped outside his house. Headlines screamed about the biker who saved the orphan. Hell's Angel or Guardian Angel. Tattooed hero rescues abused children. The motorcycle man. One boy's dream comes true. Derek hated every second of it, but Ethan was handling it worse. Why are they taking pictures of me? Because people are interested in your story. I don't want them to be interested. I want them to leave us alone. I know, buddy. I'm working on it. Derek called a press conference. Standing in front of his shop, cameras flashing, microphones thrust in his face, he made a statement. This story isn't about me. It's about a system that failed 9 children. It's about adults who saw the signs and looked away. It's about a monster who hid behind a respectable facade while children suffered. I didn't do anything special. I just didn't look away. That's what I'm asking all of you to do. Stop making this about one biker and one boy. Start asking why 4 adults ignored this child's pleas for help. Start asking who else knew and stayed silent. Start asking how we fix a system that lets predators operate in plain sight. One reporter shouted a question. Are you planning to adopt Ethan? That's between me, Ethan, and the courts. Next question. Is it true someone threatened your life? Derek paused. Yes, someone called me and offered money to walk away. When I refused, they made threats. That person is still out there. So here's my message to them. I'm not scared. I'm not backing down. And every day you stay free is a day you should spend looking over your shoulder. The press conference ended, but Derek's words had consequences. That night, someone threw a brick through his shop window. Attached was a note. Final warning. Derek showed it to Ghost. They're escalating. Let them. Every move they make is another piece of evidence, another thread to pull. And if they try something more serious, then they'll find out why they call me Shadow. 3 days later, Councilman Richard Webb was arrested. The FBI had traced the shell company that paid Patterson's bail. It led directly to Webb's accounts. Forensic accountants found a pattern of payments stretching back 12 years, coinciding exactly with Patterson's time running Pinewood. Webb wasn't just protecting Patterson, he was financing him. And that wasn't even the worst part. Webb's connected to 3 other facilities in 3 other states, Detective Chen told Derek. Same pattern, same setup. Foster homes and children's centers that look legitimate on paper, but are actually harvesting children. Harvesting? Some for labor, some for trafficking, some for worse. This is a network, Derek, a pipeline. Patterson was just one node. How many children? Chen's voice dropped. We don't know yet. Maybe hundreds. Over 2 decades. Derek felt sick. And Ethan almost became one of them. Ethan was lucky. He found you. Most of them aren't that lucky. That night, Derek sat with Ethan at dinner. The boy was eating better now, gaining weight, starting to look like a healthy 5-year-old instead of a skeleton with skin. Derek? Yeah, buddy. Why do bad people hurt kids? The question hung in the air. I don't know, Ethan. I wish I did. But I know this. There are more good people than bad. Sometimes the bad ones are louder. Sometimes they seem stronger. But in the end, good wins. Does it? It did with you. You're here. You're safe. Patterson's in jail. The people who helped him are being found. That's good winning. Ethan pushed his food around his plate. But what about the kids who weren't lucky? The ones who didn't find a motorcycle man? Derek reached across the table and took his hand. That's why we have to fight. Not just for you, but for all of them. We have to make sure what happened to you doesn't happen to anyone else. How? We tell your story. We change the laws. We make people pay attention. Will you help me? I'll help you with everything, buddy. That's what dads do. Ethan's eyes went wide. Dads? Derek realized what he'd said. I mean, if you want. I know it's early. I know we're still figuring things out, but I want. Ethan's voice was fierce. I want you to be my dad. I've wanted it since the first day. I was just scared to say it. Why scared? Because everyone leaves. My real dad left before I was born. My mom died. The foster families before Pinewood gave me back. Everyone always leaves. I'm not everyone. Promise? Derek extended his fist. Brothers don't leave brothers, and dads don't leave sons. Ever. Tiny fist bumped massive one. Ever. That night, Ethan slept without nightmares for the first time since arriving at Derek's house. And Derek sat outside his door anyway, because that's what fathers do. 2 weeks passed before the next blow came. Derek had started to believe they might actually make it through this. Ethan was gaining weight steadily. The nightmares came less frequently. The flinching when Derek moved too fast had almost stopped. The boy was starting to laugh, a sound Derek hadn't heard in those first terrible days. Then the letter arrived. Derek found it in his mailbox on a Tuesday morning. Plain white envelope, no return address. His name typed on the front. He opened it in the kitchen while Ethan ate breakfast. Inside was a single photograph. Ethan, walking to the car yesterday, taken from across the street with a long lens. On the back, 3 words. We're still watching. Derek's hands went cold. What's that? Ethan asked, looking up from his cereal. Derek shoved the photo in his pocket. Nothing, buddy, just junk mail. You look scared again. I'm fine. You're lying. You always touch your neck when you lie. You're doing it right now. Derek forced his hand down. Someone sent me something that made me angry. Not scared, angry. There's a difference. What did they send? Nothing you need to worry about. Ethan put down his spoon. It's about me, isn't it? They're watching us. The people Mr. Patterson knows. Derek didn't answer. I knew they wouldn't stop, Ethan whispered. I knew they'd come for me. Nobody's coming for you. You can't promise that. Nobody can promise that. Derek knelt beside the table, took Ethan's small hands in his. Look at me. I promised you the day we met that I would protect you. Have I broken that promise? No. Have I lied to you about anything important? No. Then believe me now. Whatever's out there, whatever's coming, I will handle it. You are safe. Do you understand? Ethan's eyes searched Derek's face. I believe you, but I'm still scared. That's okay. Being scared is normal. Being scared means you're smart enough to know there's danger, but being brave means you keep going anyway. Are you scared? Derek hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, buddy, I'm scared too. But I'm more angry than scared. And when I get angry, I get focused. And when I get focused, I win. He called Ghost immediately after dropping Ethan at school. They're watching my house. They got a photo of Ethan yesterday. I'll increase surveillance. We'll find them. Find them fast, before I do something I can't take back. That afternoon, Derek met with Detective Chen. The network is bigger than we thought, she told him. Webb was just the tip. We've identified connections to 7 states now. Politicians, judges, business owners, people who've been moving money and children for over 20 years. Who's at the top? We don't know yet. Whoever it is, they're insulated. Layers upon layers of protection. Webb won't talk. Patterson claims he was just following orders. Following orders to murder children? He's trying to cut a deal. Says he'll give us names if we take the death penalty off the table. Derek's jaw clenched. And? The DA is considering it. The names he's promising could bring down the whole network. So he gets to live while those kids in the ground don't? It's not justice, I know, but it might be the only way to stop this from happening to more children. There has to be another way. If you find one, let me know. The deal went through 3 days later. Patterson agreed to testify against everyone above him in exchange for life in prison instead of death. The list of names he provided made national news. 2 state senators, a federal judge, 14 business executives, 3 police chiefs, a children's charity founder who had been named Philanthropist of the Year twice. The arrests came in waves. Derek watched it all unfold on television while Ethan sat beside him, pretending to do homework, but really watching too. Is it over? The boy asked. Not yet, but we're winning. How do you know? Because they're scared now. When bad people start getting arrested, the other bad people get nervous. Nervous people make mistakes. What kind of mistakes? The kind that get them caught. The hearing was scheduled for December 15th. Patterson's formal testimony before a federal grand jury. The moment that would either bring down the network or let them slip away. Derek received the subpoena on December 3rd. They want me to testify about the morning I found Ethan, the phone call threatening me. Everything. Michael Chen nodded. It's standard procedure. Your testimony corroborates Ethan's account and establishes the pattern of intimidation. Will Ethan have to testify too? Eventually, yes, but not at this hearing. For now, his recorded statement and medical documentation are sufficient. Good. I don't want him in that courtroom yet. He's not ready. He's going to have to face it someday. Someday isn't today. The night before Derek's testimony, someone tried to burn down his house. He woke at 3:17 a.m. to the smell of smoke. His training kicked in instantly. He was out of bed, down the hall, and pulling Ethan from his room before the boy fully woke up. Derek, what's happening? We need to go, now. He carried Ethan out the back door as the front of the house erupted in flames. Duke was supposed to be on watch. Derek found him on the ground beside his motorcycle, unconscious, blood streaming from a gash on his head. Duke! Duke, wake up! The big man groaned, opened his eyes. They came from behind, 3 of them. I didn't see. Can you move? Yeah, I think so. Get to your bike. Call the brothers. Get help. Fire trucks arrived 12 minutes later. By then, the front half of Derek's house was gone. Ethan stood in the street, wrapped in a blanket, watching everything burn. They did this because of me, he said quietly. They want to hurt you because you helped me. They did this because they're desperate. Desperate people do stupid things. Where are we going to live? We'll figure it out. All your stuff is in there, your sister's pictures, your medals, everything. Derek watched the flames consume 20 years of memories. Things don't matter, Ethan. People matter. You're safe. That's all that matters. But you lost everything. No. Derek knelt down and pulled the boy close. I didn't lose everything. I almost lost everything. There's a difference. The clubhouse became their temporary home. 63 brothers rallied around them. One brought clothes. Another brought toys for Ethan. Someone set up a cot in Derek's office. Someone else started a collection to help rebuild the house. Ethan was overwhelmed. Why are they doing all this? Because we're family. But I'm not one of them. I don't have a motorcycle. I don't have a vest. Preacher walked over. He'd heard the conversation. Kid, you see this patch? He pointed to the Hell's Angels emblem on his vest. This doesn't make you family. This is just leather and thread. What makes you family is what's in here. He tapped his chest. You've got more heart than guys I've known for 20 years. You're one of us, patch or no patch. Ethan stared at him. Really? Really? Now come on, I'm going to teach you how to play pool. I don't know how. That's why I'm going to teach you. Keep up, little brother. Derek watched them walk away together, Ethan's small hand in Preacher's massive one. Tank appeared beside him. He's going to be okay. I know. Are you going to be okay? Derek didn't answer for a long moment. They burned my house, Tank. They almost killed Duke. They're sending a message that they can get to us anytime they want. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to send a message back. Derek testified the next morning. He walked into the federal courthouse in a suit Tank had lent him, his tattoos visible above the collar, his Marine Corps dog tags around his neck. The prosecutor led him through the events of November 17th, the discovery, the evidence, the phone call threatening him, the fire. Then the defense attorney took over. Mr. Williams, you're a member of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, correct? That's correct. A club with a history of criminal activity? A club with a history of brotherhood and community service. We've never been convicted of any organized crime. You have a criminal record yourself, don't you? I have an assault conviction from when I was 24. A bar fight. That was over 20 years ago. And yet you've appointed yourself guardian of a vulnerable child? The state appointed me. A licensed social worker evaluated my home and found it suitable. A judge approved the emergency placement. Before or after your house was burned down? Objection. The prosecutor stood. Relevance? Sustained. Move on, counselor. The defense attorney smiled coldly. Mr. Williams, isn't it true that you have a personal vendetta against my client? That your sister died in circumstances similar to the children at Pinewood, and you've projected that trauma onto this case? Derek felt the anger rising, forced it down. My sister's death has nothing to do with the evidence against your client. But it has everything to do with your credibility, doesn't it? You're not an objective witness. You're a grieving man who sees monsters everywhere. I see a monster in this room. He's sitting at that table. He starved children, beat them, burned them, locked them in basements, and buried 3 of them in shallow graves. My sister's death didn't create those graves. Your client did. No further questions. The testimony lasted 4 hours. When Derek walked out of the courthouse, there were cameras everywhere. Mr. Williams! Mr. Williams! How does it feel to testify against the man who tormented the children at Pinewood? Derek ignored them, pushed through to where Tank was waiting with the car. How'd it go? It went. That good, huh? Their lawyer tried to make it about me, my past, my club, my sister. Did it work? I don't know. I hope not. They drove to the clubhouse in silence. Ethan was waiting at the door. How was it? It was hard, but it's done. Are they going to put Mr. Patterson in prison forever? That's what we're hoping. And the other bad people? Them too. Ethan took Derek's hand. I'm proud of you. The words hit Derek like a wave. What? I'm proud of you. My mom used to say that to me when I did something hard. And you did something really hard today. So I'm proud of you. Derek had to look away, had to blink back the tears. Thanks, buddy. That means more than you know. The verdict came 3 weeks later. Patterson was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. The federal judge he'd named was indicted. 2 state senators resigned in disgrace. 14 business executives faced charges. 3 police chiefs were arrested. The children's charity was shut down, its founder awaiting trial. But that wasn't the news that changed everything. The news that changed everything came in a phone call from Detective Chen. "Derek, we found something. In the financial records, there's a payment from 12 years ago, a large one, made to a foster home in California." So, the foster home was called Willow Creek. It burned down in a fire that killed one child, a 5-year-old girl named Emma Williams. Derek's world stopped. What? The payment was made 3 weeks before the fire. It came from the same network that funded Patterson. "Derek, your sister's death might not have been an accident." He couldn't breathe. "Are you saying they killed Emma?" "I'm saying someone paid money to that facility right before it burned down. I'm saying there's a pattern. Facilities that get funding from this network have a tendency to have accidents when children become problems." "Emma wasn't a problem. She was 5 years old." "I know, and I'm sorry, but we need to investigate. If your sister was murdered, the people responsible might still be out there." Derek hung up, sat in silence for a long time. 22 years. For 22 years, he'd believed Emma died in an accident, a tragedy, a failure of the system. But it wasn't an accident. It was murder. And the people who killed her were connected to the same network that had tortured Ethan. Tank found him an hour later, still sitting in the same chair, staring at nothing. "Brother, what happened?" "They killed her, Tank. They killed Emma. She wasn't an accident. She was murdered." "Who told you this?" "Chen. They found financial records, payments to her foster home, right before the fire." Tank's face went hard. "Then we burn them. All of them. We don't stop until every single person connected to this network is either in prison or in the ground." "I don't know if I can do this." "Do what?" "Keep going. Keep being strong. For 22 years, I thought I failed her. I thought if I'd tried harder, fought harder, I could have saved her. But it wasn't about trying. They were always going to kill her. Nothing I did would have mattered." "That's not true." "How do you know?" "Because you saved Ethan. You saved 9 kids at Pinewood. You helped bring down a network that's been hurting children for decades. Emma would be proud of you." "I don't feel proud. I feel broken." "Then let us carry you for a while. That's what brothers do." That night, Derek told Ethan about Emma, the whole story, everything he'd learned, everything he was feeling. The boy listened in silence. When Derek finished, Ethan climbed into his lap and wrapped his arms around his neck. "I'm sorry about Emma." "Me too, buddy. She's not alone anymore, you know. The other kids, the ones from Pinewood, they're with her now. They can be friends." Derek felt the tears fall. "You think so?" "I know so. And I think Emma's happy, because you found me, because you're doing what she would have wanted." "What's that?" "Saving kids. Making sure what happened to her doesn't happen to anyone else." Derek held Ethan tighter. "When did you get so wise?" "I'm not wise. I'm just a kid. But I know what it feels like to lose someone, and I know what it feels like to be saved. Emma lost you, but you didn't lose her. She's still here, in your heart. And now I'm here too. We're your family now, me and the 63 uncles and everyone. Family. Yeah, the kind that chooses each other." Derek kissed the top of Ethan's head. "I love you, kid." It was the first time he'd said it out loud. Ethan pulled back, looked at him with those impossible blue eyes. "I love you too, Dad." Dad. The word broke something open in Derek's chest, something that had been locked away for 22 years. "Say that again." "Dad. You're my dad now. For real." "Yeah," Derek whispered. "For real." That night, Derek made a decision. He wasn't just going to bring down the network. He was going to destroy it. Every connection, Every payment, every person who had ever touched it. For Emma, for Ethan, for every child who had ever suffered at their hands. He called a meeting of all 63 brothers. I know what I'm about to ask is dangerous. I know some of you have families, jobs, lives that could be destroyed if this goes wrong. So I'm not ordering anyone. I'm asking. He told them about Emma, about the payments, about the connection to the network. When he finished, the room was silent. Then Tank stood up. I'm in. Duke stood. In. Preacher, Ghost, Razor. One by one, all 63 men rose. We're all in, brother. Until the end. Derek looked at his family, his brothers, his army. Then let's finish this. The investigation took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of sleepless nights. 6 weeks of chasing leads across 7 states. 6 weeks of piecing together a puzzle that spanned 2 decades of horror. Ghost worked his old contacts until they had nothing left to give. Tank coordinated surveillance operations that would have impressed the military. Preacher found witnesses who had been too scared to talk, coaxed them into trusting, into finally telling their stories. And Derek held it all together, even as each new revelation tore him apart inside. The man at the top of the network had a name now, Victor Crane, 72 years old, billionaire, founder of the Crane Foundation, one of the largest children's charities in the western United States. On paper, he'd helped thousands of kids find homes, education, futures. In reality, he'd built an empire on their suffering. He's untouchable, Detective Chen said during one of their late-night meetings. We've got circumstantial evidence connecting him to the network, but nothing that would hold up in court. He's got the best lawyers money can buy. He's got judges in his pocket. He's got politicians who owe him favors. Then we find something that can't be dismissed. Like what? Like him admitting it. Chen shook her head. He'd never do that. He survived this long by being careful. Everyone has a weakness. We just have to find his. They found it 3 days later. His grandson. Marcus Crane was 28 years old. Trust fund kid. History of drug problems. Estranged from his family after a very public falling out 3 years earlier. He tried to blow the whistle on his grandfather's activities, but no one believed him. They said he was unstable, high, looking for attention. Derek tracked him down in a rehab facility outside Phoenix. I'm not talking to anyone else about this, Marcus said when Derek walked into his room. I've already ruined my life trying to expose that monster. Nobody cares. I care. Why? Who are you? My name is Derek Williams. Your grandfather's network killed my sister 22 years ago. They tortured a boy who's now my son, and they've been destroying children's lives since before you were born. Marcus stared at him. You actually believe me? I don't just believe you. I've spent 6 weeks building a case. I've got financial records, witness testimonies, forensic evidence from multiple states. What I don't have is something that directly ties your grandfather to the operation. And you think I can give you that? I think you tried to expose him 3 years ago. I think you saw something. I think you know something. And I think the only reason you're in this facility instead of dead is because killing his own grandson would have raised too many questions. Marcus's hands started shaking. You don't understand what he's capable of. I understand exactly what he's capable of. I've seen the graves. The young man went pale. You found them? 3 at Pinewood, 7 more at other facilities. We think there are more. We just haven't found them yet. Marcus closed his eyes. I was 15 when I first saw it. I was at his house for Christmas. I snuck into his office looking for my present. Stupid kid stuff. I found a ledger instead. Names of children, dates, amounts. At the time, I didn't understand what I was looking at, but I kept thinking about it. For years, I kept thinking about it. What happened 3 years ago? I finally understood. I'd done some digging, talked to some people who work for the foundation, connected dots. I realized my grandfather wasn't just running a charity, he was running a business. Children were the product. What kind of business? Marcus's voice dropped. Some were sold to wealthy families who wanted kids without the paperwork. Some were used for labor, and some he couldn't finish. We know about the trafficking. Then you know what kind of monster we're dealing with. That's why I need your help. I can't help you. I have nothing. After I tried to go public, my grandfather's people cleaned everything, destroyed every piece of evidence I'd gathered, discredited me so thoroughly that even my own mother stopped taking my calls. But you saw the ledger. 15 years ago, it's long gone. Maybe, but ledgers mean records. Records mean backups. Your grandfather didn't build a multi-decade operation without keeping track of his money. If those records exist, they'd be in his personal safe, in his house, and that place is a fortress. Derek leaned forward. Then we need to get inside that fortress. How? That's what I'm going to figure out. The plan came together over the next week. Ghost discovered that Crane was hosting his annual charity gala on January 15th. 500 guests. Security everywhere, but focused on the public areas. The private floors of the mansion would be less protected. Tank found a catering company that had worked the gala for years. One of the servers owed a Hell's Angels brother a favor, a big one. Preacher made contact with a former security guard who had quit after seeing things he couldn't stomach. The man provided detailed layouts of the mansion, including the location of Crane's personal safe. And Derek convinced Marcus to do something he swore he'd never do. Go back to his grandfather's house. This is insane, Marcus said. If he finds out I'm there, he won't find out. You're going as my guest, one of 500 people. You get me into the house, show me where the safe is, and then disappear into the crowd. I'll do the rest. And if something goes wrong, then I'll make sure it goes wrong in a way that doesn't touch you. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. Because you tried to do the right thing 3 years ago and nobody listened. You deserve to see this through. And so does every kid your grandfather ever hurt. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. My grandmother used to tell me that the sins of the fathers visit the children. I always thought she meant we suffer for what they do. But maybe she meant something else. Maybe she meant we have the power to end it. So you'll help? Yeah, God help me, I'll help. The night of the gala arrived. Derek wore a tuxedo Tank had procured from somewhere. He looked wrong in it. Too many tattoos visible. Too much muscle, too much edge that formal wear couldn't hide. But the invitation was legitimate, and money had a way of making people overlook imperfections. Marcus met him at the entrance. The young man was pale, sweating, barely holding together. I can't do this. Yes, you can. He'll know. He always knows. Derek gripped his shoulder. Look at me. Your grandfather is a predator. Predators recognize fear, so don't be afraid. Be angry. Think about what he's done. Think about the children he's destroyed. Let that anger carry you through. Marcus took a shaky breath. Anger. That's right. Now walk me into that house like you own the place. They made it through the entrance without incident. The main ballroom was packed with Denver's elite. Politicians, business leaders, celebrities, all there to support the Crane Foundation's good work. Derek wanted to burn it all down. Instead, he smiled politely and let Marcus guide him through the crowd. Victor Crane was holding court near the main stage. 72 years old, silver hair, immaculate suit, smile that never reached his cold gray eyes. He looked like what he was, a man who had spent his entire life getting away with evil. Their eyes met across the room. Derek felt the recognition, the predator sizing up another predator. Then Crane looked away, dismissing him as unimportant. That was his first mistake. Marcus led Derek to a service corridor. 3rd floor, east wing. The safe is behind a painting in his study. Combination is biometric, fingerprint, and retinal scan. I know, we've got a workaround. How? Better you don't know. Derek, what are you planning? Getting justice. That's all you need to know. Go back to the party, make sure you're seen. When this goes down, you need an alibi. Marcus hesitated. Good luck. Don't need luck. I've got something better. What's that? 63 brothers who'd go to hell for me. And right now, 3 of them are disabling the security system, while 2 more are keeping Crane's head of security very distracted. Marcus almost smiled. You crazy bastard. Go. Derek moved through the mansion like a ghost. His military training kicked in. Every shadow an opportunity, every corner a potential threat. He reached the 3rd floor without encountering anyone. The study was exactly where Marcus said it would be. Locked, but the security system was down. A simple pick had the door open in seconds. The painting was a portrait of Crane himself. Of course it was. Narcissist to the end. Behind it was the safe. Biometric scanner glowing red. Derek pulled out a small device Ghost had acquired from a contact in the FBI's cyber division. Cost them $50,000 in a favor to be named later. It took 90 seconds to bypass the biometric lock. The safe opened. Inside were files. Dozens of files. Peter records going back decades. Crane was old school. He didn't trust computers for his most sensitive information. Derek started photographing everything. Names, dates, amounts, locations, a complete record of every transaction, every child, every payment. The ledger Marcus had seen 15 years ago, updated and expanded. 23 years of documented horror, including a payment dated March 3rd, 22 years ago, to Willow Creek Children's Home for the disposal of a problematic asset. Emma Williams, age 5. Derek's hands shook as he photographed it. They'd paid $12,000 to murder his sister. $12,000. That was what her life was worth to them. He forced himself to keep going, keep photographing, keep documenting. Emma deserved more than his rage right now. She deserved justice. He was on the last file when the door opened. Victor Crane stood in the doorway, flanked by 2 security guards. Mr. Williams, I wondered when you'd make your move. Derek didn't run, didn't panic, just kept photographing. These records are already being transmitted to federal servers. Killing me won't stop anything. Crane smiled that cold smile. I know. I've known about your little operation for weeks. Did you really think you could infiltrate my home without me being aware? I've survived longer than you've been alive by anticipating threats. Then why let me in? Because I wanted to meet the man who's caused me so much trouble. The biker who thinks he's some kind of hero. I wanted to look into your eyes and see what makes you different from all the others who've tried to bring me down. And what do you see? I see a man who's going to die tonight, along with everyone he loves. Derek felt ice in his veins. What did you do? Your clubhouse, where you've been keeping that boy. My people are there right now. By the time you get back, there won't be anything left but ashes. Derek lunged at him. The security guards caught him, slammed him against the wall. One of them pressed a gun to his head. You can kill me, Crane said calmly, but you can't save him. You can't save any of them. That's the difference between us, Mr. Williams. You fight for people you love. I fight for power, and power always wins. You're wrong. Am I? Derek smiled. You think I came here alone? You think I didn't plan for exactly this scenario? His phone buzzed. A prearranged signal. That's my brother Tank letting me know your men never made it to the clubhouse. They were intercepted 20 minutes ago. Every single one of them. Your people are currently being held by 47 very angry bikers who've been waiting for an excuse to hurt someone. Crane's smile flickered. You're bluffing. Call them. Go ahead. See if they answer. Crane pulled out his phone, dialed, waited. No answer. Dialed again. Nothing. Here's what's going to happen, Derek said. In about 3 minutes, FBI agents are going to walk through your front door. They've been waiting for probable cause. The transmission I just sent gave them everything they need. You're going to be arrested in front of all your fancy friends. Your foundation is going to be shut down. Your accounts frozen. Your legacy destroyed. You can't. I already have. And here's the best part. My grandson is downstairs right now, giving a statement to federal agents about everything he witnessed. Everything you did. Everything you made him carry for 15 years. Crane's face went white. Marcus would never. Marcus has been waiting his whole life for someone to believe him. Tonight, someone finally did. The sounds of commotion rose from downstairs. Shouting, running feet. The distinct authority of federal agents announcing themselves. Crane turned to his security guards. "Get me out of here." They didn't move. "I said get me out." One of them stepped back. "We're not going to prison for you. We're done." They walked out. Derek and Crane stood alone in the study. 22 years ago, you paid $12,000 to have a 5-year-old girl killed. Her name was Emma Williams. She was my sister. Crane's eyes went wide. "That was you? The Marine who tried to get custody? You knew about me?" "Of course I knew. We monitor all the families, make sure there are no loose ends. But you went overseas. We assumed you'd let it go." "I never let it go. Not for one single day. And now you're going to pay for what you did to her, for what you did to all of them." Footsteps on the stairs, federal agents appearing in the doorway. "Victor Crane, you're under arrest for murder, trafficking, fraud, and conspiracy." They handcuffed him, read him his rights, let him out of his own house in front of 500 guests. Derek stood at the window and watched them put him in the car. It wasn't enough. Nothing would ever be enough, but it was something. The aftermath moved quickly. Crane's records led to 37 more arrests across 7 states. The network that had operated for over 2 decades was dismantled in a matter of weeks. Children's homes were raided. Victims were identified. Families who had lost children finally learned the truth. 3 weeks after the gala, Derek received a call from Detective Chen. "We found them." "Found who?" "The records from Willow Creek, the facility that burned down. Crane kept everything. We've identified the 2 men who set the fire. They're both still alive, both in custody, and both are talking." Derek couldn't speak. "They've confirmed it was deliberate. Emma was targeted because she told a teacher about conditions at the home. She was going to talk. Crane couldn't allow that. She was 5 years old. She was just trying to get help." "I know. And the men who killed her are going to spend the rest of their lives in prison." "I wanted you to hear it from me first." Derek hung up, walked outside, fell to his knees in the parking lot, and wept. 22 years of grief poured out of him. 22 years of guilt, of anger, of helpless rage against a world that had taken his baby sister and given him nothing but silence in return. But it wasn't silence anymore. Now there was truth. Now there was justice. Now Emma could finally rest. Tank found him there 30 minutes later. "Brother, you okay?" Derek wiped his face, stood up. "They caught the men who killed Emma." Tank pulled him into a hug. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. When they finally separated, Derek took a deep breath. "I need to tell Ethan." "You want me to come with?" "No, this is something I need to do alone." Ethan was in the clubhouse, playing cards with Preacher. He looked up when Derek walked in, immediately sensing something different. "What happened?" Derek sat down across from him. "I have news. About Emma."
Your sister?
"Yeah, the men who killed her. They caught them. They're going to prison." Ethan set down his cards. "You found them?" "We found them. Me and the brothers and the police. Together." "How do you feel?" The question caught Derek off guard. He expected excitement or relief or some kind of childish response. Not this quiet, careful inquiry. "I don't know. Sad, angry, relieved, all of it at once." Ethan climbed off his chair, walked around the table, and climbed into Derek's lap. "Emma knows. Wherever she is, she knows what you did, and she's proud of you." "You think so?" "I know so. She sent me to you, remember? She wanted you to finish this. And you did. Derek held his son close. I couldn't have done it without you, buddy. You started all of this. You were brave enough to run, brave enough to trust a stranger, brave enough to tell your story. I was just scared. I didn't feel brave. That's what brave is, being scared and doing it anyway. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Dad? Yeah? Can we go see her now? Emma? I want to meet her, even if she's not really there. Derek's heart clenched. Yeah, buddy, we can do that. Soon. The adoption was finalized on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Derek hadn't planned it that way. The court date just happened to fall on that day. But when the judge signed the papers and declared that Ethan James was now legally Ethan James Williams, it felt right. Love was the point, after all. The courtroom was packed with Hell's Angels. 63 men in leather vests, looking completely out of place among the lawyers and social workers, but none of them caring. They'd come to witness one of their own become a father. When the judge asked if Ethan understood what was happening, the boy stood up. Yes, Your Honor, it means Derek is my dad now, for real, forever, and nobody can ever take me away from him. That's correct. How do you feel about that? Ethan looked at Derek, smiled. I feel like I'm finally home. The judge smiled back. Then by the power vested in me by the state of Colorado, I declare this adoption final. Mr. Williams, you are now the legal father of Ethan James Williams. Take good care of each other. Derek pulled Ethan into his arms. Always, buddy. Always. The clubhouse erupted in cheers when they arrived for the celebration. Cake, balloons, music, things no one would expect from a Hell's Angels party, but there they were. Tank had organized the whole thing. Every kid deserves a party when they get a family, he said, even if that family wears leather and rides Harleys. Ethan ran through the crowd, high-fiving his 63 uncles, laughing, playing, being a kid in ways he'd never been allowed before. Derek watched him with tears in his eyes. Preacher appeared beside him. You did good, brother. We all did. No, you did. The rest of us just followed your lead. I couldn't have done any of it alone. That's the point. You're not alone anymore. Neither is he. Derek watched Ethan climb onto Duke's shoulders, demanding to be carried around the room like a king. 22 years, Derek said quietly. I spent 22 years carrying guilt for failing Emma, thinking I wasn't worthy of happiness, thinking I'd never have a family. And now? Now I know I was wrong. Emma didn't want me to suffer. She wanted me to live, to love, to find a way to turn my pain into something good. And you did. We did, all of us, together. That night after the party, Derek and Ethan sat on the roof of the clubhouse, looking at the stars. Dad? Yeah? Do you think Emma can see us right now? I think so. I like to think she's watching. What do you think she'd say if she could talk to us? Derek thought about it. I think she'd say, thank you, for not giving up, for fighting until we found the truth, for making sure the people who hurt her couldn't hurt anyone else. What else? I think she'd say she loves us, both of us, and she's glad we found each other. Ethan leaned against Derek's shoulder. I'm glad too. Me too, buddy. Me too. The trip to California came 3 weeks after the adoption. Derek had been putting it off, making excuses, saying he wasn't ready. But the truth was simpler. He was terrified. 22 years since he'd visited Emma's grave. 22 years of avoiding the place where they'd put his baby sister in the ground. 22 years of guilt so heavy he couldn't bear to face the small headstone that marked everything he'd failed to protect. But Ethan wouldn't let him hide anymore. We have to go, Dad. I know. Then why do you keep saying next week? Derek sighed. The kid was too smart for his own good. Because I'm scared. Of what? Of feeling it all again. The grief, the guilt, everything I've been carrying for 22 years. Ethan climbed onto the couch beside him. You told me once that being brave means being scared and doing it anyway. Remember? I remember. So be brave. It's different when it's you. No, it's not. Fear is fear. You either let it win or you don't. Derek looked at his son. 6 years old now, they'd celebrated his birthday 2 months ago. Healthy weight, bright eyes. Still had nightmares sometimes, but they were getting fewer. Still flinched occasionally, but less and less. Healing, growing, becoming the boy he was always supposed to be. When did you get so wise? I learned from watching you. I'm not wise, I'm just stubborn. Same thing sometimes. They flew to California on a Thursday morning. Tank came with them, so did Preacher. Derek hadn't asked. They'd just shown up at the airport, packed and ready. You didn't think we'd let you do this alone? Tank said. I was hoping I could. Too bad. Brothers stick together, even when one of them is being an idiot. The cemetery was small, quiet, nothing special about it. Just rows of headstones marking lives that had ended too soon. Derek stood at the entrance, unable to move. Ethan took his hand. I'll go with you. You don't have to. I want to. Emma's my aunt now. Family should meet family. They walked together through the rows. Derek's feet remembered the way even though his mind had tried to forget. Past the old oak tree, past the angel statue, past the bench where he'd sat for hours after the funeral, too destroyed to cry, too broken to speak. And then they were there. Emma Marie Williams, beloved sister, forever 5. Derek fell to his knees. 22 years of pain crashed over him like a wave. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel the massive weight of everything he'd lost pressing down on his chest. I'm sorry, he whispered. Emma, I'm so sorry. I should have been there. I should have saved you. I should have. Ethan knelt beside him. Dad, look at me. Derek couldn't stop the tears. I failed her. I was supposed to protect her and I failed. No, you didn't fail her. You were far away. You couldn't have known. I should have known. I should have fought harder to get custody. I should have. Stop. The word was sharp, firm, so unlike the scared 5-year-old who'd shown up in Derek's garage 6 months ago. Stop blaming yourself for something you couldn't control. That's what Mr. Patterson wanted me to do. He wanted me to think everything was my fault, that I deserved what happened, that I was bad and that's why bad things happened to me. But it wasn't true. It was never true, and it's not true for you either. Derek looked at his son. When did you figure that out? When you found me, when you told me it wasn't my fault, when you showed me what it looked like when someone actually cared. I don't know how to let go of this guilt. You don't have to let go of it. You just have to stop letting it control you. Emma doesn't need your guilt, Dad. She needs you to live, to be happy, to take all that love you have for her and give it to the people who are still here. Derek pulled Ethan close. How are you so strong? I'm not strong. I'm just tired of being sad. And I think Emma would be tired too. She'd want you to be happy. They sat there for a long time. Tank and Preacher waited at a respectful distance, giving them space but ready if needed. That's what brothers did. Finally, Ethan stood up. Can I talk to her? Alone? Derek hesitated. I'll be right over there. You can see me the whole time. Okay. Derek walked to where Tank and Preacher stood, watched Ethan kneel at Emma's grave, watched the boy's lips move in words he couldn't hear. What do you think he's saying? Preacher asked. I don't know. Something I probably need to hear. After 10 minutes, Ethan stood up and walked back. What did you tell her? Ethan smiled. I told her about you, about how you saved me, about how you cry sometimes when you think I'm asleep, about how you make really bad pancakes, but I eat them anyway because you try so hard. Derek laughed despite himself. My pancakes aren't that bad. They're pretty bad, Dad. What else did you tell her? I told her I'd take care of you. I told her she didn't have to worry anymore. I told her we're family now, me and you and the brothers and everyone. And I told her thank you. For what? For sending me to you. for making sure you weren't alone anymore, for giving you someone to love so you didn't have to carry all that pain by yourself. Derek's eyes filled with tears again. You think she sent you? I know she did. I dreamed about the motorcycle man for months before I found you. Blue eyes, brown hair, tattoos. I dreamed about him so many times. And then I found your garage. And there you were, exactly like my dreams. That could have been coincidence. You don't believe in coincidence. You told me that. When? The night you told me you wanted to adopt me, you said something put me in your garage. You said maybe it was Emma watching over us. I remember. So why is it so hard to believe it's true? Derek looked at Emma's grave, at the small headstone, at the flowers someone had left recently, he didn't know who. Because if it's true, then she was watching the whole time. All those years I was drowning in guilt and grief. She was watching me suffer. Maybe she couldn't reach you until you were ready. Maybe you had to hit bottom before you could climb back up. Maybe the motorcycle man in my dreams wasn't just for me. Maybe he was for both of us. Derek pulled his son into his arms. I love you, kid. I love you too, Dad. Now can we go home? I'm hungry and I want real food, not airplane peanuts. Derek laughed. Yeah, let's go home. They left the cemetery together. But before they did, Derek stopped one last time at Emma's grave. I'll take care of him, he whispered. I promise. And I'll come back. Not in 22 years. Soon. I'll bring him with me. We'll tell you about our lives, about his school, about the brothers, about everything. The wind picked up slightly, rustled the flowers on the grave. Derek chose to believe it was an answer. The Colorado Child Protection Reform Act was signed into law 3 months later. They called it Ethan's Law. Mandatory, unannounced inspections of all residential care facilities quarterly. Independent interviews with children without staff present. Financial audits of all child welfare funds annually. Whistleblower protections for anyone reporting suspected abuse. Minimum staffing requirements. Background check reforms. Training mandates. Everything the system should have had decades ago. Everything that could have saved Emma. Ethan testified before the state legislature the day the bill passed. He stood on a chair to reach the microphone. 6 years old, 39 pounds now, healthy, finally. Wearing a little suit Tank had bought him. My name is Ethan James Williams. 8 months ago, I lived in a place called Pinewood. The man who ran it was supposed to take care of us. Instead, he hurt us. He didn't feed us. He locked us in the basement. He burned me with a cigarette when I tried to tell someone. The room was silent. I tried to tell 4 adults before I ran away. A teacher, a doctor, a police officer, a social worker. Nobody believed me. Nobody helped. They all said Mr. Patterson was a good man. They all walked away. Ethan paused, looked at Derek in the front row. Then I found my dad. He believed me. He helped me. He called his friends and they helped too. 63 of them. They made sure I was safe. They made sure the other kids were safe. They made sure Mr. Patterson went to jail. But not every kid is going to find a motorcycle man in a garage. Not every kid is going to get lucky like me. That's why we need this law. So kids don't have to be lucky. So adults can't look away. So when a child says they're scared, someone has to listen. He lifted his chin. I'm not scared anymore. I have a dad who loves me. I have 63 uncles who would do anything for me. I have a home where I'm safe. But somewhere right now, there's a kid who's still scared. There's a kid who's still hungry. There's a kid who's still being hurt by people who are supposed to protect them. This law is for them, so they don't have to wait for a miracle. So someone will help them before it's too late. The applause lasted 3 full minutes. The bill passed unanimously. The governor signed it that afternoon with Ethan standing beside him. Derek watched from the crowd, tears streaming down his face. Tank and Preacher on either side of him. That's your boy, Tank said. Yeah, that's my boy. Guardian Watch launched 1 month later. Derek had been thinking about it since the night he'd found Ethan. A way to make sure other kids had somewhere to turn. A way to use the brotherhood for something bigger than themselves. The concept was simple. A hotline, a network. Any child in Denver who needed help could call. Day or night, a Hell's Angels brother would respond. They'd get the kids safe, get them fed, get them connected to the right resources. Not vigilante justice, not taking the law into their own hands, just filling the gaps the system left behind. The first call came 3 days after they announced the program. A 12-year-old girl named Maria. Her stepfather was hurting her. She tried to tell her mother. Her mother didn't believe her. She tried to tell a teacher. The teacher said she was seeking attention. Sound familiar? Preacher took the call, met the girl at a gas station at 2 a.m., brought her to a safe house the brothers had set up, got CPS involved, got the stepfather investigated. He was arrested a week later. Maria was placed with a foster family vetted by the brothers themselves. "Thank you," she told Preacher before she left. "Thank you for believing me." "Always, kid, that's what we do." Within 6 months, Guardian Watch had helped 43 children in Denver. Within a year, the program had spread to Seattle, Phoenix, Sacramento, Portland, Austin, and Las Vegas. Within 2 years, Hell's Angels chapters in 37 cities across 14 states were running their own versions. A network that had destroyed children was replaced by a network that saved them. Derek hadn't planned to become the face of the movement. He wasn't comfortable with cameras, with interviews, with attention. But Ethan pushed him. People need to see that bikers aren't scary. They need to see that family looks different for everyone. They need to see that the people they've been taught to fear might be the ones who save them. "I'm not good at talking." "Then let me do the talking. You just stand there and look tough." They did interviews together, news programs, podcasts. A documentary crew followed them for 3 months. Derek hated every second of it, but the calls to Guardian Watch increased every time their story aired. Kids reached out who never would have before. Parents called asking how to spot signs of abuse. Teachers called asking what they could do differently. It was working. The ride to California became an annual tradition. Every June, on the anniversary of Emma's death, Derek and Ethan rode together. Derek on his Road King, Ethan on the back, helmet firmly in place, arms wrapped around his father's waist. They'd visit her grave, talk to her, update her on their lives. Then they'd ride home. The first year, Ethan asked a question that stuck with Derek for months. "Do you think she forgives you?" "For what?" "For not being there, for not saving her." Derek thought about it. "I think she was never angry in the first place. I think I was the only one who needed to forgive." "And have you?" "I'm working on it." By the second year, the answer changed. "Have you forgiven yourself yet?" "Getting closer." "What's stopping you?" "The voice in my head that says I should have done more." "That voice is wrong." "I know, but it's been talking for a long time. It's hard to make it stop." By the third year, the answer changed again. "Have you forgiven yourself?" Derek smiled. "Yeah, buddy, I think I finally have." "What made the difference?" "You. Watching you heal, watching you grow, watching you become this incredible kid who helps other kids. Every time I see you being brave, being kind, being happy, I remember why I kept going. And I realize that's what Emma would have wanted. Not my guilt, my joy." Ethan leaned against him. "She'd be proud of you." "She'd be proud of us, both of us." Ethan turned 8 on a sunny Saturday in September. The brothers threw him a party at the new clubhouse. They'd upgraded to a bigger space to accommodate Guardian Watch operations. 73 people showed up. The original 63 brothers, plus their families, plus kids from the program who had become part of the extended family. The cake was shaped like a Harley, 3 tiers, chocolate with vanilla frosting. Ethan's request. "Make a wish," Tank said as Ethan prepared to blow out the candles. The boy closed his eyes, thought hard, then blew. 8 candles went out at once. "What did you wish for?" Derek asked afterward. "Can't tell, or it won't come true." "Come on, give me a hint." Ethan grinned. "It already came true. Years ago, I just wished for it to never end." Derek pulled him close. "It won't, I promise." "I know. You always keep your promises." Victor Crane died in prison 4 months later. Heart attack, natural causes. No one mourned him. Derek got the news from Detective Chen. "I thought you should know." "Thank you. How do you feel?" "I feel like it should matter more than it does. But it doesn't. He's been dead to me since the day I found out what he did to Emma. The physical part was just a formality. Some people would call that closure. Some people would. I call it the end of a chapter. But the book keeps going." He didn't tell Ethan about Crane's death. The boy had enough weight to carry without adding more. Some things a father keeps to himself. The anniversary of the morning Derek found Ethan fell on a Sunday, November 17th. 3 years since a 5-year-old boy had slept on a stranger's Harley, dreaming of rescue. They marked it quietly, just the two of them. Pancakes for breakfast, Derek's had improved significantly. Then a ride through the city on the Road King. Then dinner at the clubhouse with the brothers. "Do you remember what you were thinking that night?" Derek asked as they sat on the roof, watching the sunset. "I was thinking I was going to die. I was thinking nobody was coming. I was thinking I'd rather freeze on a motorcycle than go back to Pinewood. And now? Now I can barely remember what it felt like to be that scared. It's like it happened to someone else. Someone who looks like me, but isn't me anymore. That's called healing." "I know. Dr. Martinez says I'm making excellent progress." Derek smiled. Ethan still saw a therapist twice a week. Probably always would. Some wounds needed professional help to heal. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" The question came out of nowhere. Ethan had answered it a dozen times before, always with different responses. A firefighter, a pilot, a chef, a professional video game player. But this time he didn't hesitate. "A protector, like you, like the brothers. I want to help kids the way you help me." "That's a big job." "I know, but someone has to do it. And I understand what those kids are going through. I've been where they are. I can look them in the eye and say, I know it's hard, but you're going to be okay, and actually mean it. You're already doing that, at Guardian Watch. I want to do more. When I'm older, I want to start my own chapter somewhere. Maybe somewhere that doesn't have one yet. Some city where kids don't have anyone to call. You've thought about this a lot. Every day since I testified, those legislators looked at me like I was special. But I'm not special. I'm just a kid who got lucky. I want to make it so luck isn't the only thing that saves kids." Derek felt his heart swell with pride. "You're going to be something, Ethan Williams, something extraordinary. I learned from the best. I'm not the best. You're the best dad. That's all that matters." They sat in silence for a while. "Dad? Yeah? Thank you." "For what?" "For opening your garage door that morning. For not calling the police and walking away. For believing me when nobody else would." "You don't have to thank me for that." "Yeah, I do. Because you didn't have to do any of it. You could have been one of the 4 who walked away. But you weren't. You stayed. And that made all the difference." Derek put his arm around his son. "I'd do it again. 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Every time I'd choose you." "I know. That's what makes you my dad." Derek Williams was 48 years old. He still worked construction, still rode with the brothers, still wore his Marine Corps dog tags every single day. The new house was smaller than the old one, but it felt like home in a way the old one never had. Ethan's room had a door that never locked from the outside. That was Derek's rule. No child in his care would ever be locked in. Pictures of Emma sat on the mantle alongside pictures of Ethan, the 2 people who had shaped Derek's life more than anyone else. One through loss, one through love. Every night, Derek checked on Ethan before bed, made sure he was sleeping peacefully, made sure the nightmares hadn't returned. Most nights they hadn't. Most nights Ethan slept with a small smile on his face, dreaming whatever dreams happy 8-year-olds dream. Derek would stand in the doorway and watch him breathe, and he would think about the journey that had brought them here. A 5-year-old sleeping on a motorcycle in a stranger's garage. 63 brothers mobilizing to save a child they'd never met. A network of predators brought down by the testimony of one brave boy. A law that would protect children for generations to come. A program that had already saved hundreds and would save thousands more. All of it started because one man opened a garage door. All of it started because one man chose not to walk away. The world wanted to call Derek a hero. He rejected the label every time. I'm not a hero. I'm a father, a brother, a man who saw a kid in trouble and did what anyone should do. The real heroes are the kids who survive, the kids who speak up, the kids who find the courage to run. But Ethan disagreed. You can be both, Dad, a regular person and a hero. They're not mutually exclusive. Is that something Dr. Martinez taught you? No, that's something you taught me, by being both. 3 years after finding Ethan on his Harley, Derek finally understood what his sister's death had meant. Not punishment, not failure, not a wound that would never heal. Purpose. Emma had died so that Derek would spend 22 years building the strength, the connections, the determination to save other children. Her death had forged him into the man who could save Ethan, who could bring down Crane's network, who could start Guardian Watch, who could change laws. She hadn't sent Ethan to be saved, she had sent Ethan to save Derek, and they had saved each other. That was the truth. That was the miracle. That was a legacy. Ethan James Williams fell asleep that night with his arms wrapped around a stuffed motorcycle Tank had given him for his birthday. Derek sat outside his door, same as he had every night for 3 years. Not because Ethan needed him to anymore, because Derek needed to. Because sitting outside his son's door, listening to him breathe, knowing he was safe and loved and healing, that was the only proof Derek needed that the world could be good. That hope was real, that redemption was possible, that family wasn't blood, family was choice. 63 strangers had chosen to protect a child they'd never met. A broken biker had chosen to open his heart to a broken boy. And a 5-year-old who dreamed of motorcycle men had chosen to believe that someone would come. Someone did, and everything changed. Not just for Ethan, not just for Derek, but for every child who would ever call Guardian Watch, every kid who would benefit from Ethan's law, every family who would be formed in the image of the one that started with a boy on a Harley. The sins of the past don't have to define the future. The pain we carry can become the strength we give. And love, real love, chosen love, fought for love, can redeem anything. This story isn't about motorcycles or leather vests or tattoos. This story is about what happens when someone decides enough is enough. When someone sees a child hurting and refuses to look away. When someone chooses to be the person they needed when they were young. Derek Williams found a 5-year-old sleeping on his Harley. 63 Hell's Angels showed up to help. And a man who had spent 22 years mourning his sister finally learned how to live again. Because that's what family does. They show up, they stay, they fight, and they never, ever let go. Brothers protect brothers, fathers protect sons, and sometimes the people who save us are the ones we least expect. Ethan dreamed of a motorcycle man. He found a father instead, and they both found home.